Hi everyone, and welcome back to Disc Golf Valley Tips and Tricks. Here we are, 2024, with a brand new series, especially designed for people who are just learning the game. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at the first couple of videos that we've done, getting started and some basic tips, it might be a good idea for you to take a look at those, and then we can get started here with today's video on Blueberry Thicket. And I think the way that we'll approach this is also take a look at how to become familiar with new courses using the practice mode. And so let's go ahead and tap on play here. And then at the bottom here you see a tab for practice. Let's tap on round and choose Blueberry Thicket. And then just tap play to get started. Blueberry Thicket is a lovely, beautiful course. I especially like the new fresh look that it has. They've kind of turned up the saturation a little bit, so the greens are greener, the blues are bluer, and just love playing this with the birds in the background. All right, let's maybe take a look at our bag and see what discs we have to work with. This is a brand new account for me. And so I'm starting out with some of the basic discs that come as you start the game. But we've also purchased some discs. If you've been following along, we picked up a pack of Strives and then the tournament pack as well. And so that's what we're working with here as we go through our practice on Blueberry Thicket. And given the discs that we have available, I'm going to have to start with the 7-speed here. It won't go the distance to get a possible ace on this hole, but it is certainly good enough to get our layup and get close to the basket. We want to take a look at the wind before we pull back, and given that it's quite a strong wind right to left, we won't put quite as much of a hyzer on this. Normally, to go around that corner to get to the basket, we'd probably want to put our 7-speed about here in a normal wind speed, but given that it's a 3 wind speed, we'll maybe just try it out here and see where it goes. That wind should just bring it right around, and sure enough. Plenty close enough to the basket for an easy toss-in. Let's take a look. It is 8 meters. We should be able to just use the putting mode for that. Anything that's 8 meters and below, I just usually toss it in with a putting mode. And if you didn't have a chance to watch the video on basic skills, you should probably take a look at that to learn how to do the putt and the throw-ins. This one, we'll just do the putt, and then we pull it back and just lift our finger up above the basket, and in it goes. But take a look at that basic skills video if you're a little uncertain what to do there. Okay, now with the practice mode, you can either choose to replay a hole or go on to the next hole. So if you did not get a birdie, you might want to tap on replay hole a couple of times until you get confident that you can get a birdie every time, because that's your goal, is to learn how to get a birdie on every one of these holes, so that when it comes time to challenge the course, you'll be able to easily get your 3 stars and move on to the next course. All right, but I don't know if there's anything much more I can show you. We'll play it one more time, I guess. And basically a different wind here, so we're going to put a little bit more of a hyzer on this and let it just come right around towards the basket for an easy comeback. 8 meters. Well, maybe this time we'll just show you the backhand. For 8 meters, when you're that close to the basket, I usually aim quite high on the basket, because if you don't, then you're going to hit the bottom rim of the basket. All right, let's move on. Next hole. Okay, now this second hole is basically the reverse of hole number 1. But this time, instead of using a backhand, we're going to go with the suggested forehand that the game gave us here. I'm going to move my pointer up to about here, check out the wind, and then make a decision as to how much hyzer we're going to put on it. And go something like that, and see how we do. Well, that's not bad. Come around for a 6-meter toss in. And that's basically the play on that one. I don't think there's anything else I could show you until we do acquire maybe some 10 speeds, some muskets, and then maybe we can do a video and show you what you need to do to maybe try for your aces on some of these. So let's go on to the next hole. All right, hole number 3. And this is an interesting hole. You'll notice that it's a par 4, which means that on this particular hole you have the opportunity of getting an eagle. If you can get close enough to the basket on your drive and you can toss it in, you'll have an eagle. There's 2 approaches. There's a long way around, and then there's a shortcut through the woods. There's a small channel through the woods there, and so we'll take a look at both approaches. We don't have actually a good distance driver to get close enough to the basket for an easy eagle with the distance drivers that we have. You really need to have, or you should have at least, a distance driver with a big skip attribute when you're going around the long way. But let's give it a try. I know that this drive with the light attribute does go quite a ways. Let's see how far we can get down the fairway with this light disc. Now notice that we have quite a strong wind that's not going in the right way there. So I'm going to put just a little bit more of a hyzer than I normally would to compensate for that strong wind against us. And let's see what it does. Well, that got us up there. It's still quite a ways to the basket to get the eagle. It didn't quite come around as much as I would like it to. And the nice thing about working with the practice mode is that at any time, if you're not happy with the way your drive went in any given wind condition, you can just tap on the rethrow and try again. It's going to maintain the same wind condition so that you can use the same disc that you did, but just adjust your hyzer. And I think last time we did it about there, so I'm going to just put a little bit more on it and see how it flies in this wind. That's a little bit more what we're looking for. That got us closer to the basket, but there's one more thing I want to try here, and that is to use the disc that has the wind break attribute and see if that flies any better in this strong wind. And we'll put maybe a mid-range hyzer on that. See if that goes any further. The thing about wind break discs is that while they do fly through the wind a little better, they don't fly quite as far as a disc that has the light attribute. So I think in the end we went further with the disc that had the light attribute, even in the strong wind. Well, that time we put too much of a hyzer on it. Try one more time. All right, and then that leaves us with 31 meters. That's not bad, actually. Problem is, we don't have the best discs for our throw-in or putts. Because we are just starting out fresh and new with a new account, we don't really have very good discs to accurately throw in from this distance. I know this compass kind of fades a bit. And notice that we've got a 3 wins, so let's bring it down a little bit. And let's see what we can do here. Yeah, that's quite a bit of fade. All right, let's try that again. And this time we've got the wind at our back. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to try the light one again. This time I won't put quite as much hyzer on it because that wind is also going to take it off to the left. But that left us 40 meters. Right over the top. But the nice thing to remember is that this is a par 4, so we can still go for our birdie here. I'm going to keep using the compass. I feel a little more comfortable with the compass than I do with that dagger. Don't like the daggers. Now this is a 3 wind, so I'm going to bring it down more than normal. And it is right to left, so I'm going to point it to the... Well, with the compass at this distance, it's going to fade a little bit too, so you need to add for that. And then, because we're shooting downhill, I'm not going to bring it down to the normal line there. I am going to bring that back up a little bit and hope for the best. There it goes in. So that gives us still a birdie, which is all we really need when we're going for our 3 stars. Let's replay the hole again and see what we can do about taking the shortcut here. I'm going to use the light disc again, the Strive. I'm going to bring my pointer down to about here and put quite a bit of a hyzer on that. And well, it did bring us down. We almost got caught up in the trees there, but that left us with a 27-meter putt. And so there's a chance here we can get our eagle. There we go. But I wasn't quite happy with that, so let's try it one more time. And this time, put just a little bit more of a hyzer on that so we avoid hitting those branches. And that brings us in a little closer, I think. No, maybe not. 31 meters. But we still end up with our birdie. All right, so practice that, and it really does help when you get an eagle here and there when you're working on your 3 stars. Okay, next hole. This one, you can't even see the basket. Sometimes when you're first starting out, it's good to have the flyovers so you know what you're doing, but it kind of shows you where it's going to be. The best approach I've found to this hole is to change it to forehand. And what disc could we possibly use here? I guess the 7 is going to have to be our disc again. It's not going to make it all the way, but it should be just fine for our layup. Doesn't get much better than that. So you could try it the other way if you want. With the backhand, just put quite a bit of a anhyzer on that and let it swing back around the other way, and still close enough to really just toss it. So that's an easy hole. Let's go on. This is a hole that you would think would be easy to get your ace on, but even after 5 years, I still find it challenging to get an ace on this hole. But the nice thing to know about it is that it's a very easy birdie, because there's a big hill there that will stop your disc and bring it back to the basket, and so you can really use any disc that you want on this hole and you're still going to be fine. Like probably the 7 again is going to be the best option that we currently have in our bag, and I'll bring my pointer down to about here and just pull straight back. And if you're the type of person that wants to practice getting an ace, using our rethrow option, in this wind condition, we know that to do the same thing next time, to get a little closer to the basket, maybe we won't pull it down all the way. Just bring it back a little bit and see if we can drop it in. Well, I think we were a little closer that time. We could try one more time and make a little slight adjustment and see if there's anything that we can do to help that pop in the basket. Well, it's closer. So you can see with a little practice, you might be able to learn how to get an ace there. The thing that I struggle with is remembering for any given disc, in any given wind condition, just where do we need to point that and how much of a hyzer do you need to put on it in order to, and how far do we need to bring it back? You know, there's so many variations that go into a throw like this that I just rarely get my ace on this. But it's nice when it happens. You might be able to remember your variations better than me, and so if you are so inclined and you want to take the time, then by all means use the practice mode to learn how to get an ace on that one. Let's move on. Here's another possible ace even with the disc that you start out with. In this wind condition with the compass, maybe bring it down to about there. Bring your disc down to the second line there and see what happens. This one might actually be worth spending a little bit of time on. The reason I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time figuring out how to get the ace with the compass is because I know that it's not going to stay in my bag very long. I really don't like the compass. And so as soon as the fuse comes along, there's another 5-speed that's an accurate windbreak that is a lot more consistent in getting the ace on this. So we'll just try one more time here. But you might want to wait until you do get that fuse in a few days and before you start spending too much time trying to learn how to get your ace here with this compass. All right, I don't know if we can see the basket. Let's just slide over a little bit so that we don't risk hitting that tree. And see if we can pop this in. Let's try it one more time. Because we were messing around there, we only got a par, but we want to see that beautiful birdie show up. So when you're not going for your ace, you might want to just lay up a little bit more. You know, don't bring it all the way down to the second line so that you're not sliding off so far. And you don't have so far to come back. All right, next hole. Hole number 7. Probably the best disc that we have in our current bag is going to be our 7 again. And I would say put your pointer up against this tree here. Check your wind condition as to how much hyzer you put on. I'm going to go with something like that. And it's a little bit short. I don't think the 7 actually ever is enough disc to get your ace with, but it does lay up nice. Let's try it one more time, see if we can get some different wind condition going here. Okay, let's grab our 7 here again And this time, because we're going against a 2-wind in that direction, we'll put just a little bit more of a hyzer on it. Sets us up for an easy toss-in. And then number 8. This hole, even though it's only 68 meters, you want to pull out a little stronger disc. 7 would probably get you close enough for your birdie, but I might be more inclined to grab this roll strive disc and just not pull it back all the way. I think let's put our aiming pointer right about there, but just don't pull it back all the way down. Maybe just to the second line should be good enough with this disc. And this is a hole you might want to practice a little bit. When I first started, I struggled to get my putt into the basket, probably because it's usually an uphill shot, or an upshot we call it, and I didn't quite know how to handle those. But the idea for an upshot is you want to choose the backhand and put your pointer. The game automatically puts your pointer where it should be, right near the top rim there, just below the top rim. However, because the wind is a 3-speed and it's a little bit from left to right, let's make a compensation here by something like that. You see that wind just lifted it up. So when I say just below the rim there for an upshot, I always kind of keep your eye on the wind, because that's going to change things. Let's replay this one. Let's try that strive, I should say. And this time, something like that, and in it goes. But I would recommend practicing that one if you're new to the game. And then our last hole. When I first started playing the game, I really struggled with this hole. I don't know if they've changed things, but it seems so much easier now. But I would often go off into the forest when I first started playing this game. I guess I just wasn't realizing how much of a turn there is here. And because of that, what I usually do is put my pointer up in the sky here like this, and let the disc go way up and come around. But what you need to do is put quite a bit of a hyzer on it as well, and it should just come back around. And almost went in the basket for an ace. And then coming back, let's do it one more time. Don't usually use a 7 on this hole, but since it's the closest one in the bag that will work, I'm surprised at how close it came to the basket. Seems to work fine as a layup disc. And in it goes. So there you go, using the practice mode to learn a course and learning how to get birdies on all the holes before you try and challenge the valley. When you feel that you are comfortable, you can hit the retire button here. If you're ever wondering how to get out of something, use the hamburger menu, and there's usually a retire button there as well. And so hit the arrow again, and this time when you're ready, you can hit challenge the valley, and hit the course you want a 3-star. I've already done it with my new account, but in our next video we'll run through it again and get our 3 stars. You'll notice that you don't have to get a full -9 to get your 3 stars. To do that, you need to end up with a 19, and they're giving you the 3 stars for 21. So even before you have mastered getting a birdie on every hole, you could try and go ahead and get your 3-star on Blueberry Thicket, and that way open up some more courses. Plus get some disc rewards. You'll see over here in the right corner, if you 3-star this course, you'll get 3 more discs for your bag. All right, well, that does it for this video. Hope that you were able to pick up a few tips on how to use the practice mode, and we'll see you next time here at Disc Golf Valley Tips and Tricks. So long for today.